Hi, I'm Randy Robison. Welcome to a special digital edition of Life Today. This is an interesting one. Have you ever wanted to get involved, maybe change your community through volunteerism, but you didn't really know how to do it? We've got the solution. Rob Peabody, the CEO of VOMO, is here, and we're going to tell you how you and your church, your groups, whoever you are involved with, can get involved to help others. Glad to have you, Rob.
Hey, Randy, thanks. It's a privilege to be here with you.
So, okay, first of all, what does VOMO stand for? Let's look at that now.
Yeah.
I'm guessing volunteer something.
Volunteer mobilization.
Okay, so the VOMO.
Yeah,
right.
and then we also say like volunteer movement as well.
Okay.
VOMO, yeah.
So tell me about the app real quick, and we'll show some pictures of this so people get an idea of what it looks
Definitely.
like.
So it's web-based platform and app, both in the Google Store and Apple Store. And you go to vomo.org and you can find it there or go get the free app. And what it does is it connects churches and believers and nonprofits with actual real needs in the local community through the palm of your hand. And so the average person's checking their smartphone 200 times a day now, and average millennial spending 9 hours in front of a screen. And so it's taking the power of technology that we're staring at all day long anyways, and using it for good to mobilize believers to go make a kingdom impact right where they work and live.
Yeah, I know I've been in a position where I've thought, I've got some time this weekend. I'd love to volunteer, but I don't know where. I don't know how.
Definitely.
So I can jump on this thing
Right.
and click, and see an opportunity and sign up and go?
Exactly. Yeah, one of the biggest things I say is we're trying to defeat the ignorance barrier.
Yeah.
Because everybody, they want to do good.
Right.
And they, when Hurricane Harvey came through, everybody wants to do something, but we don't know what to do or where to start.
Yeah.
And so we have created the platform to be the one place everybody can go through your church or just individual believers, and then find those opportunities. And that is their, they can go be a part of the solution and be the church outside the walls of the church, which is the big vision of marrying demonstration of the gospel with our proclamation and tying that together.
Why is that important to you?
Oh, it's extremely important to me just through my experience of being a pastor, being a nonprofit leader, being a missionary over in London for the past 6 years, where I speak a lot in churches and find that we have I believe we have a generation of believers who are convinced of the why of the Great Commandment and Great Commission. And, we can prioritize that, we're all about it, but then I feel like we're stuck and we don't know how to move to implementation. And so that's why I care, because I wanted to move from the seats and the pews out into the streets where we're really embodying the gospel of Jesus.
And that's where we see a real change anyway.
Exactly.
When we express the gospel, not just proclaim it, or faith without works is dead.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
So you're bringing it to life. Tell me, how did you go from ministry to the technology side of it? Because not everybody makes that jump.
Sure. And it's a big one for me. I tell everybody on my team I'm the least technical person that you could imagine. But we have the support of all the tech guys. And so, I have a pastor's heart, missionary heart, speaker, communicator. And then I just noticed this in church after church that we were in, where there's a lot of inspiration, there's a lot of resources, but it's that equipping piece of how do we put this into practice, and how does our Monday through Saturday change because of what's happening on Sunday. And so it was completely supernatural. I was in London. God brought a guy on my team from Miami, who is the media director at a big church in Miami. I explained this vision to him. He says, we've done an earlier iteration of this in Miami, and it worked across Dade County.
Okay.
We put out a video. I said, what's it going to take to do that in every city in the Western world?
Right.
And he says, oh, Rob, it's going to take an entire tech team and developers and millions of dollars. And I'm like naively saying, let's go for it. And so we put out a video and try to raise money through all our denominational friends and churches. And I get an email from a guy in Budapest who's Italian named Davide. And I'm like, okay, what does this guy want? Like, how many Bibles do you want me to send to a foreign bank account and all that, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And literally, had a Skype. I said, the vision is change your community, change the world. He starts crying. And I said, are you okay? And he says, Rob, I'm a team of university-trained developers who have been working on the exact same platform for the past 3 years, and we're stuck because we don't know vision, communication, marketing. And I said, well, we don't know tech. And so he's like, how fast can you come to Budapest? So I fly to Budapest literally the next week with David, and most supernatural thing I've ever been a part of. We end up merging together And I walk into their office, and it's 2 Italians, a South African, a Ukrainian, and a Finnish guy all in the office together. And it's like a joke, you know?
Yeah.
And so God married us up, married the visions, and I'm back in London, and the next thing I know is Pulse Movement and Nick Hall, and they're doing this massive thing called Together 2016 last year in Washington, D.C., trying to get 1 million people to the mall for the largest Jesus gathering in the history of America. And they'd seen some of my work and said, we know how to get people here and get them saved, but we don't know what to do with them after that.
Yeah.
And I was like, VOMO.
Yeah.
Like that is, let's let Jesus reset their lives and then give them the tools to go reset their communities where they live to see revival happen across the nation.
Wow, what a story.
It was nuts, yeah.
So is it working? You getting people out and doing things?
Yeah. So our beta launch was last year at Together 2016. Worked with 300 churches, the mayor's office. We actually ended up having 12,000 users in the first day.
Did it crash the system?
Well, that's what I thought. I was like,
Right.
You know about this stuff.
Well, that's a lot for day one. I mean,
well, yeah, so
goodness.
literally the developers are in the back room and the guys who founded all the technology, and I'm like, if 1 million people get on tomorrow, will this crash? You know, and they're like bandwidth testing it on Amazon Web Services and everything else. And luckily, no, it went fine.
Good.
And literally the first project that was gonna happen was painting the fence at the Jefferson Memorial. And I walked down, it's 8 a.m. in the morning, and I'm like, let's see if this actually worked, if people really showed up, you know? And we get there, and it's a bunch of South Korean folks who don't speak any English painting the Jefferson Memorial fence. And I went to the translator, and I said, how did you hear about this? And they said, oh, we found this thing, VOMO. It was, you know, and we flew in, and so it was just crazy. And so that led to us moving back to America a year ago, and now really launching it out through churches and associations and networks of churches and denominations across the country.
All right, so for 2018 now, what are you seeing?
That's it. So our big vision is April of every year is National Volunteer Month.
Okay.
So the entire country is focused on this, and all the nonprofits and businesses and government sectors are endorsing volunteerism big time during that month. And so our big goal is that we get VOMO to be the catalyst for all of that through those different sectors of society. And what I love is that I'm sure people of all different faiths will be serving, but at the end of the day, it's the people of God powering this.
Yeah.
And through that message, I hope that we've got an opportunity and possibility to point it back to Jesus and say, this is the heart, this is why we're doing this. And it's not just about being a humanitarian do-gooder, it's about what compels us in the love of Christ.
Yeah, well, and you and I both know that when you get out there and you're working with people, and they may be of a different flavor of faith, they may be of no faith at all, but when you're trying to accomplish a goal, whatever the goal of your volunteerism is, you end up working together, you get to know that person, you bridge any denominational gaps, any racial gaps, any age gaps, you bridge all those when you're working together, and that's the relationship that then opens the door to conversation, which can lead to witnessing, or at least just making friends, understanding each other. I mean, it erases a lot of the barriers that exist in this country today.
I couldn't have said any better. That's exactly right. You need to come be our spokesperson.
I read your website.
Yeah. Well, that's it, because for the past 6 years, I've been working with a group called Fresh Expressions of pioneering new ways of doing church in post-Christian Europe, where people are no longer coming through the walls and doors of our church. So we've got a New Testament, got to go to them and be missional. And what we found is that 3,500 new witnessing communities or faith communities have been started in the UK in the past decade using that model.
Wow.
About starting where people are, listening to the needs of the community, beginning to love and serve the community, then out of that relationship that's built is an opportunity to proclaim the gospel to them in relationship in a really natural way. Church gets formed, and that's the DNA, and we keep replicating it. And so, with the next generation quickly rising up in this country, I feel like this is something God's prophetically given me over there to bring to this country to say, this is how we're a tangible witness.
I think you're 100% right. Demographically, if you look at the U.S., there's a huge baby boomer population. There's a smaller, what they call Gen X population, and there's the huge millennial population. That's the next big population group, and what we're seeing is that the baby boomer generation, they would build a church, invite people in, they would come. That's how you would share the gospel, and it was great. The millennials, they're not coming in the doors. We got the buildings, we got the churches, we're open and we're inviting them in, and a small fraction of them are coming through those doors. So I think you're 100% right in saying let's go outside our own doors. Let's not abandon the church.
Right, not at all.
Let's use that as the base camp, and then let's go out and take the gospel to the streets. So, and through the apps, through the technology, that's the language they speak.
Exactly.
And so you're definitely on something. Now, if I'm a church or I'm an organization that either wants to volunteer or needs volunteers, we can sign up and be a part of and get volunteers and send out volunteers all through the app. So it's not just for individuals.
Completely. And it's actually just as much for the individual as it is for the organization or church. Okay. And so when they go to VOMO.org, they can pick which one they are.
Okay.
But the big vision as a pastor and ministry leader is that this empowers the church to organize themselves. And then, you'd be amazed how many churches know they're doing good in the community, but can't quantify it, can't tell you how much. And and we give all the metrics and analytics. We integrate it with social media. So we've built the perfect system to help get them in a micro level in their congregation, pushed out and all their people to go serve. But then also on a macro level, we've seen multiple churches, even across denominational lines, working together on the platform, because now the church, the people of God, are reading from the same playbook in a community. So like right now we have the entire Dallas Baptist Association here and Unite Dallas, which is 300 churches, all using VOMO. So now they're not duplicating their efforts in silos, but they're working together to see a greater kingdom impact, which to me is like John 17 and the unity of the body. That's what speaks to the outside world.
Absolutely. Brilliant idea. I love it. And we're going to encourage people to go check out VOMO.org, download the app from the Google Play Store, Apple Store, and get involved. Get your church involved, get your group involved, and go share the gospel. Thanks so much for spending time with us and for putting together this amazing technology.
You're welcome. It's a total privilege for God to use us in this way.
Amen. Thank you for watching and sharing this interview. Be sure to check out the social media for Life Today Television, and you can connect with me on Facebook and Twitter. And if you haven't already subscribed or followed this channel, do it now so you can see more of our great guests.